first photo said I was in a place I hadn't seen in 10 years. I was bored. New phone. It was past midnight, and the apartment was quiet. I was flipping through settings, swiping through modes, taking dumb shots of my ceiling fan and the kitchen sink. I pointed it down the hall toward my bedroom. No lights. Just a black rectangle in the doorway. I thought, let's see how the night mode works. I took one. When I opened it, the screen showed the door frame, the edge of the hall table, and a pale oval way back by the dresser. Not glowing, just a cutout of light in the dark, like a face without features. I zoomed in. 2 darker smudges near the top. Eyes. It made me pull the phone back for some reason. I don't scare easy, but my skin went tight. I tapped the info. Location tag said my parents' old house. The year was wrong too. The timestamp was 9/32, August, 5 years ago. I hadn't been there since the funeral. I checked the map. It dropped a pin right on their street. I laughed, but it sounded fake. "Okay, bug," I said. "Sure." I took another one. I didn't move. Same doorway, same dark room. The face was closer. Not a full person. Just that oval. It filled more of the frame. The eyes were clearer. Not white. Not anything you could touch. Just the idea of eyes staring out of the messaging app preview at me. The new info said a different time. 9:40. Same old address. I tried to delete it. Trash can. Confirm. It left my gallery. I went back to the camera roll, and it was there again, in the same spot, out of order, like it had been there all along. I deleted both. They showed up again, stacked together. I turned on the bedroom light and took another shot. Nothing in the photo now but my hamper and the messy bed. I killed the light and shot into the dark. The oval came back. Further back this time, like it had stepped away when the light went on and stepped forward in the dark. Okay. Nope. I walked to the bedroom light and flipped it on and off, on and off. I took photos both times. It only showed up in the dark ones. When the light was on, it was just my room. I told myself it was software. A bad update. I did a full restart. Still there. I did a factory reset. Waited for that stupid spinning wheel. Reinstalled everything. Logged in clean. The 2 photos were already in my camera roll when the phone came back to life, before I even opened the camera app. The dates kept saying that August. I tried a different angle. I stood in the hall and aimed at the bathroom this time. Lights off in there. Snap. Pale oval in the mirror. I turned the bathroom light on and leaned in. My own face. Puffy and tired. I switched the light off, aimed again, and took another. Oval in the glass. A little closer. Like it had turned to face me head on. I printed one at the shop down the street the next day. I told myself if it was a glitch, it would disappear on paper. The clerk handed me the envelope. I opened it and my hands shook a little. The print showed my bedroom doorway and that face back by the dresser. Eyes like smudges. My stomach dropped. I took it to my friend Lena that night. She lives 3 blocks from me. She's blunt. Always has been. She held the photo under her lamp and squinted. "What am I looking at?" she said. "Right there. Back of the room." She tilted her head. "No, here. It's by the closet." I leaned over her shoulder. In my print, it was by the dresser. In hers, held in her hand, it sat by the closet like it had turned to meet her. Her lamp hummed and dipped. We both looked up. The bulb flickered twice, long, and I could see the oval in the black of her TV screen over my shoulder. I spun around. Nothing there in the room. When I looked back, the photo felt heavier. Can you not? She said. Actually, put that away. She rubbed her arms. You brought weird with you. Sorry, I said. It's probably nothing. Maybe I'm messing it up by looking. She said, Give me your phone. She opened the gallery. The screen brightened and her living room dimmed. The floor lamp clicked. A soundless click. Her dimmer slid itself down a notch. I grabbed the phone back. I'm going, I said, and I did. I called the utility company from the sidewalk. Told the guy my lights had been flickering, asked if there were outages. He pulled up a map and said, All green in your area. Might be the building. He asked my address. I told him. He paused and said, Actually, we show steady load. No brownouts. If it's just your apartment, it could be a breaker. He was nice. He said call an electrician. That night, I woke at 3:04 to the shutter sound. Not loud, just that fake camera click. I lay there cold and listened. Another click from the kitchen. I sneaked out of bed and saw the phone on the counter face down, screen lighting the stone. The gallery count jumped. I picked it up. 10 new photos, all black with a bit of doorway. The oval in each one, closer in every frame. I scrolled them forward like a flipbook and felt my heart do that stutter. The final one was just the 2 smudges where eyes should be and a suggestion of cheekbones and the curve of a jaw. The info on that last one said 3:04, and the location was my parents' house again. The very same latitude/longitude. When I was a kid, I hated that basement. I used to feel eyes at the bottom of the stairs. I didn't sleep after that. I turned on every light. I set the phone in the sink and ran the hot water over it for a minute, like heat could wash it away. It still worked, of course. New phone. They don't die easy. Backstory, in case you think I'm winding you up. I grew up 7 towns over. The old house was small and always cold. I had a little brother, Jamie. He was 10 when he died. We were playing hide and seek when the power went one night. Summer storm. We were being idiots. I was 14 and thought I was the boss of Scary. I shut him in the basement as a joke and shut off my flashlight and said, Walk to the bottom and back. Don't be a baby. You just have to look. He took a step and slipped. I heard him tangle up in something and then I heard nothing. There wasn't an open well or anything. He hit the shelf and then the floor. He was breathing when I found him, but his head was... Anyway, he didn't make it to the hospital. That was at 9:30 something. The time stuck in my head like a pin. So when the EXIF said 9:32 from that house, my stomach knew before my brain did. It felt like being pushed. I tried to be normal the following day. Work, coffee, the whole thing. When I got home, the hallway light popped when I flipped it. Small pop, little smoke. I bought new bulbs. The new ones did that thing where they glow for a second and then went dead. I pulled the breaker panel. All the switches looked fine. I sat on the floor with a flashlight and then put the flashlight down because I caught my face in the chrome of the oven door, but the eyes weren't lined up with mine. They were over my right shoulder. I stopped breathing for a second. I turned slow. Nothing behind me but the broom. I picked up the flashlight and went to the bathroom and lifted the mirror and tilted it. The eyes in the reflection were not mine. My pupils go narrow in light. These stayed wide, watching. I cold called an electrician. He could come in 2 days. I said I'd pay extra for tonight. He laughed and said he was booked, and also it sounded like I was describing a ghost. He did not help. The phone started taking pictures on its own every night, always between 3 and 4, always into whatever dark hall or room it could see. I tried plugging it in face down under a towel. I would wake and feel watched, and there would be that click anyway. Even with the sound off. Even with the physical switch on silent. It took shots through the towel that showed the towel and the shape pushing up under the dark threads. The timestamps matched the exact minute I sat up in bed and stared at the door. I could see my own panic in the blur of one, like a smear of my shoulder. I bought a burner phone, cash, at the grocery store. Crappy camera. I kept my real phone in a drawer. I used the burner to call Lena. I told her I was losing it. She said, "Get rid of the pictures." "They come back," I said. "Print them and burn them," she said. I printed one. It moved. I told her the lamp shuddered. She got quiet. "I didn't want to say," she said. "Last night, my bathroom light did that." I woke up to a click. I don't have a hard shutter sound, but you know when you hear something that isn't there. I went to pee and I swear something was in the shower, but it was just towels. She paused. "Don't send me anything else. I'm serious." "I won't," I said. "I'm sorry I brought it." "Is it Jamie?" she said. She'd been there. She knew about the basement. She was one of the only people I ever told the truth to. That I pushed. That I closed him in and laughed. I shut my eyes then because the word felt like a slap. "I don't know," I said. "It doesn't feel like him." "Stop looking at it," she said. "Stop giving it." She stopped because her line went hissy. "Hello?" she said. Then I heard her say, "Oh, no." Then the call dropped. I tried calling back. It rang and rang. When the text came through later, it was just, "It turned when I looked. I'm sleeping in the living room." I left her alone that night. I didn't know what to do without making it worse. Every day, the photos were closer. It didn't speed up. It just did the same slow slide. From the door to the foot of the bed. From the bed to the side of the bed. From the side of the bed to... not there. Because when I tried to get a shot of the floor beside me, it showed only black and a tiny piece of my sleeve. The last one had a flash of white at the bottom edge. Teeth or a reflection. The info said 304. 304. 304. Like a stamp. I tried to shut off all the automatic stuff. No background app refresh. Battery saver. I left it in the freezer because that's a stupid trick people try, and I was desperate. It woke me at 3:04, muffled, taking another. When I looked in the morning, the freezer shots were foggy with crystals. The oval was there, hazed by ice. The eyes looked clearer through the frost. It wasn't just the phone. Shiny surfaces in my place got weird. The kettle showed that same oval. The TV, when it was off, reflected the room, but the space behind my couch was wrong, deeper, like it had had the wall removed. I moved the TV to face the wall. I covered the microwave with a towel. I put my knives in a drawer because I didn't like seeing that shape in the stupid knife block. The light over the stove died on its own while I was cooking pasta, and I ate cold noodles in the glow of my phone's flashlight because I was scared to be in the dark. I held the phone in my mouth while I ate so my hands were free. The thought of turning it off felt like asking for something. The company said again there was no outage in my building. He said, "We show you pulling odd current spikes at night, actually." I said, "What does that mean?" He said, "Maybe heaters cycling on?" I said I didn't have any. I stopped going into my bedroom. I slept on the couch, with the bathroom light on, and the hallway light on, and a little nightlight on the counter. That night, the nightlight died first. Clean. No pop. Just out. then the bathroom, then the hall. The phone's flashlight app went gray with a little exclamation point and a message I didn't understand. Something about overheating. The screen dimmed. The entire apartment leaned darker, like someone put a lid over the building. I called Lena and left a long voicemail. I said, "Don't look at anything shiny. Don't walk in the dark even for a second. Sleep somewhere with people." I didn't say her name at the end because I started crying. That annoyed me because it felt like feeding it. I couldn't avoid it anymore. You keep something in the corner of your life and it grows teeth. That's what it felt like. Little clicks at night and the feeling in the skin between my shoulder blades. I got mad. I got stupid. I decided to sit with it. I shut everything off on purpose. I didn't wait. I didn't let it do it to me. I pulled the breakers for the whole place. The window shade was down. It was night. I put my phone on the coffee table and opened the camera and tapped to black. I sat in my chair and held a flashlight in my lap. I thought about traps. I don't know, like an animal. If I made it full dark, would it finally come out and stop hiding in the screen? If I could just see it, maybe it would be smaller than it felt. The room breathed in that way rooms do when the fridge cuts off. Quiet. My ears rang. I talked out loud because silence made my thoughts go in circles. "Jamie," I said. Saying his name sucked air out of my chest. "If it's you." I didn't mean I know that doesn't help. I made you go down there. I told you to look. I'm the reason you stepped when you shouldn't have. I held the door like a jerk. I laughed. You didn't laugh. I know that. I've always known that. My voice went weird. If this is me, if I made this by looking at it and making other people look at it, fine. Then let it be me. The screen stayed black and bright at once, backlit nothing. I could see my thumbprint grease. I waited a long time. My legs went to sleep. The phone hummed in my teeth even though it wasn't in my mouth. You know when you can feel your own pulse fill your head. It felt like that, but not mine. The flashlight in my lap felt like a safe door. I ran my thumb along the ridges. I told myself if I kept that, I had a way out. I could always blind it, shine it, prove there was nothing there. Something shifted in the far corner of the room. Not sound. Pressure, like when someone walks past you in a hallway and your skin knows to make room. The phone clicked without my touch. I flinched. It took another. It took another. It kept taking them, slow, steady taps like a metronome. 301, 302, 303. The dark felt crowded. On the screen, in the little flash of its own light, I saw a slice of couch, the arm of a chair, my knee. On the fifth one, I saw a curve of something like a cheek at the bottom edge. On the sixth, the eyes. No iris, no pupil. Just rounds of darker dark. It was inches away. It was at the edge of the coffee table. It was looking up at me. I had the flashlight. I did. I could have flipped it and put a circle of safety around me and played hero and convinced myself I was brave. I could have turned on the breaker and blown the whole moment open. It would have run. Do I know that? No. That's just what my fear told me it would do. I thought about Lena in her living room, sleeping with every lamp on and still hearing the click. I thought about Jamie at the top of those steps, standing with his hand on the railing, waiting for me to say, "Okay, enough. Come back up." I thought about all the looks I've asked for, the people I've dragged into the dark because I didn't want to stand there by myself. I said, "Don't look," out loud. I said it to nobody or to him or myself. I don't know. Then I made the choice. I put the flashlight on the floor and lifted it high and dropped it. Plastic cracked. The bulb pinged and went to dust inside. A little smell of hot metal and nothing. Total dark rolled over me. Not soft. Heavy. The phone took one more photo, and the burst lit the room for a slit of a second. It was right there in that flash. It had my cheekbones. It had Jamie's mouth. Water in the corners of the lips. A tiny notch on the left ear that I'd given him with a paper airplane when we were kids. "I'm sorry," I said. Cold fingers found my jaw. I didn't turn on the lights. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you did, feed the algorithm, hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe. It's the only way to keep the stories coming. And if you're brave enough, there's another one waiting right after this. See you on the next one.